PortRoyal and Black history. Historical context. In November 1861, during the Civil War, the Union Navy captured the Sea Islands off the coast of South Carolina, including the key port of PortRoyal. This victory was significant as it provided the Union with a crucial base for naval operations in the South. PortRoyal experiment. With the capture of PortRoyal, approximately 10,000 enslaved Black people were left behind by fleeing white residents. This event led to the PortRoyal experiment, one of the earliest efforts to transition formerly enslaved people to freedom and self-sufficiency. Northern abolitionists, missionaries, and educators flocked to the islands to help the newly freed population. They established schools such as the Penn School on St. Helena Island and provided resources for agricultural and economic development. PortRoyal experiment, a rehearsal for Reconstruction education. Schools were established to educate formerly enslaved people. Penn School on St. Helena Island was among the first, providing literacy and vocational training. Economic independence. The formerly enslaved people were offered opportunities to work for wages, purchase land, and farm independently. This aimed to shift them from a life of enslavement to economic autonomy. Agricultural reforms. The experiment introduced modern agricultural techniques, encouraging the growth of cotton and other crops under a free labor system. Impact and outcomes. The PortRoyal experiment demonstrated the potential for formerly enslaved people to manage their own affairs and integrate into a free society. It provided a model for Reconstruction policies that would later be applied across the South. Key outcomes included successful self-sufficiency. Many participants of the experiment successfully managed farms, bought land, and became economically self-reliant. Social transformation. The experiment fostered a sense of community, self-determination, and hope among the formerly enslaved population. Challenges and legacy. While the PortRoyal experiment had its challenges, including resistance from some local white residents and the complexities of transitioning to freedom, overall success influenced Reconstruction strategies. It remains a significant chapter in African American history, symbolizing resilience and the capacity for self-empowerment. PortRoyal was established by the English in 1655 after they captured Jamaica from the Spanish. By the late 17th century, it had become the hub of shipping and commerce in the Caribbean, infamous for its wealth and debauchery. Nicknamed the wickedest city on earth, PortRoyal attracted pirates, privateers, and merchants, creating a booming but morally questionable economy. Its strategic position at the mouth of Kingston Harbor made it an ideal base for maritime activities, attracting a diverse and often lawless population. The town's prosperity was built on trade, much of it illicit and the spoils of piracy. Wealth flowed into PortRoyal, financing opulent lifestyles and fostering a lively, often debauched urban culture. The city was characterized by its crowded streets, lavish buildings, and bustling marketplaces. Prostitution was rampant in PortRoyal, driven by the influx of sailors and pirates who sought entertainment after long voyages. Taverns and brothels lined the streets, catering to every conceivable vice. Women, both enslaved and free, found employment in these establishments, often in deplorable conditions. This proliferation of sex work was not only tolerated but economically integrated into the city's social fabric, reflecting its moral and legal laxity. The city's taverns were legendary for their indulgence in alcohol. Rum, the drink of choice, flowed freely, and drunken revelry was a common sight. These establishments also doubled as gambling dens, where fortunes were won and lost in a single night. The combination of alcohol and gambling further fueled the city's reputation for debauchery. Social dynamics. The social order in PortRoyal was as fluid and chaotic as its economy. Wealth and status were often transient, with pirates and privateers experiencing rapid rises and falls. The ostentatious display of wealth was common, with grand homes and luxurious goods flaunted by those who had struck it rich. Yet, alongside this opulence was grinding poverty, particularly among enslaved Africans and the poorer segments of the population. In the midst of this decadence, PortRoyal was struck by a severe earthquake at 20 minutes to noon on June 7, 1692. 3 violent shocks, each stronger than the previous, ripped through the earth, followed by a giant tidal wave. Within minutes, 2/3 of the entire town disappeared underwater. The disaster of June 7, 1692. The moral and social excesses of PortRoyal came to an abrupt halt on June 7, 1692, when a devastating earthquake struck the city. At around 11:43 a.m., the ground began to shake violently. Eyewitnesses described the earth opening up and buildings collapsing into the sea. The quake, estimated at a magnitude of 7.5, triggered a series of events that led to the city being swallowed by the ocean. Immediate consequences. In the chaos, 2/3 of PortRoyal sank beneath the waves, killing an estimated 2,000 people instantly. The earthquake's impact was compounded, which further devastated the area. In the following days and weeks, diseases such as dysentery and malaria spread among the survivors, claiming thousands more lives. The physical destruction was immense, with streets, buildings, and even ships disappearing beneath the water. Aftermath and decline. The earthquake was seen by many contemporaries as divine retribution for the city's sins, a judgment on its notorious reputation for vice. PortRoyal's commercial importance dwindled as survivors relocated to safer areas, particularly to Kingston, which soon emerged as Jamaica's new economic center. Legacy today, the story of PortRoyal serves as a stark reminder of the fleeting nature of wealth and the destructive potential of unchecked excess. The city's underwater ruins have become an archaeological treasure, offering a unique glimpse into 17th century colonial life and the dynamics of a society built on piracy and indulgence. PortRoyal's legacy as the wickedest city on earth endures in popular culture and historical memory, symbolizing both the allure and peril of a city driven by extreme wealth and moral abandon.
Hey beautiful souls, it's Shakira. Thank you for tuning into History, Channel News, and for all your incredible support. Can't wait to see you in the next video.